All right, we are back. We are back again. Welcome back, everybody. And it's been a week. Today's Saturday, so I believe that means I've been on the water for the last 6 days straight. I think 5 or 6. I don't know. They're all running together, and I am here to give you guys a Okeechobee fishing report. While I do, I'm enjoying a nice cold one. So cheers. I don't care how old you are. These things are freaking delicious, and I steal them from my kids every chance I get. So I can do what I want. But welcome back to the channel. I appreciate you guys clicking on. Appreciate all the kind words and all the positive comments I've been getting lately. So thank you guys very much. And thank you everybody who has reached out to book a trip. That is also awesome. I think, like I said already, I've been on the water the last 6 days. So can I just kind of give you guys a fishing report and just kind of break down what I feel like is going on out there. I've seen the entire lake 3 times this week. I have put in at every ramp possible, and I have ran around this son of a gun this week. My fuel bill was crazy, but for a few reasons for that. Mainly is because I'm just not on anything. I'm being honest with you guys. I mean, I haven't been on anything consistent at all. Everything is random. For me, that's going to be the overall, just the state of the lake, how it's fishing. And also, it's that time here where I'm really trying to run around and look at as much as I can. Now, I typically do that on my off time. I don't want to waste your guys' time while you're paying me your hard-earned money on the boat. But right now, that just seems like that's the name of the game, is running and gunning. And I've talked to, not just from my experience, but I have talked to a lot of the best tournament anglers on the lake, a lot of the best guides on the lake, bouncing, and everyone from everyone I've spoken to is saying the exact same thing. No one can find a big group of fish, and no one has found anything, like I said, that's consistent. So the fishing is tough. The strange thing for me, at least on my boat, has been when you do get a bite, it's a good one. But we've been really trying to use a lot of just clues that the lake is trying to give us, the fish are trying to give us. And I don't know, it's very weird. I don't have just a beat on what's going on. And I think it's because there's not really something, this is going to sound stupid, but there's really not something going on. Obviously we're getting towards the end of October. We are really starting to focus on spawning areas and fish that are wanting to spawn. I think there are fish actively spawning as I make this video, and there was definitely fish spawning last month, which is crazy to think about. The clients I've been having and booking trips with from out of state are in shock when they see the catch spawning fish, see beds. I think it's wild, but that's like a Okeechobee. That's what happens. But it's weird, like finding fish that are in spawning areas. I get a bite or two. Going to the mid-range stuff out in front, I get a bite or two. And going to the outside edge, I get a bite or two. So that's kind of, I feel like, there are fish in all stages, but I feel like there's not a big push of them doing anything in particular. A lot of times I talk to you guys on my trips about using the clues that the lake gives you. Every fish is a clue. Does it look like it's a post spawner? Does it look like it's a lake-looking fish, white belly, real fat, healthy? Does it look like a residential fish, real dark in color? What was that fish on? Did he act like he might have been spawning? Did he look like just a random? Did he if you got bit on something like a drag and a worm, when you picked it up, did he haul ass one direction before you set the hook? A lot of times it indicates that there's a group of fish there. That fish is trying to get that bait away from the other ones. And using all of that, I really cannot understand exactly what the deal is on the lake right now. Another weird thing I've had happen, I actually ran a couple of shiner trips this week. We threw artificials as well, but I was getting a couple dozen shiners each morning because it's been tough. And not just in my boat, but talking to a lot of other shiner guides, they're having the issue where the corks are sitting still, and all of a sudden there it goes. It's getting chased. I tell my customer, open the bail, let the bait swim away from the fish. And there's boils. There's even an explosion of the fish blowing up the shiner. They don't get it, and they don't come back for it. So that happened really the last 2 days, 3 days, I should say, or today and 2 days ago, just a crazy amount of times. And they're not catfish. When the catfish get in there, you do catch the catfish. They commit to the bait. But some really big bass that are just being fickle. Like it's almost like they really don't want to feed. And I've just ran into that both on the north and the south end of the lake, all the way in the back, all the way outside. Even with artificial, I caught a couple fish on a frog yesterday that were under the frog for 30 seconds. I mean, boil, chase it a little bit, kind of roll on it. And then when they did get it, it was just almost like a cutthroat eating a nymph. Just not violent, and the fish were hooked right in the lips. So like they didn't choke the frog. Even with a worm, just really subtle. The fish almost seem lazy. But when you do catch them, they're some of the strongest I've ever dealt with. I mean, they're very strong, and they don't have bellies like they've been gorging, but they're just perfect fish. Very, very healthy, solid chunkers all the way through. So I don't know what any of that means, if that means anything to any of you listening, but it's just really strange. And then, they have the Cracker Boys event going on right now, their championship. I think they have 36 boats on the lake. 18 is leading that. There's a club tournament out of Clewiston. 18, I believe, won that, or 17. And these 18 to 17 pound bags are what are kind of doing very well and winning these events. But a lot of these times, these people have a 5 to 7 pounder, and that 5+ bite is a difference maker right now. But there are people that are getting a lot of those 2.5 to 3 3/4 bites for whatever reason, which seem like they're all just a bunch of decent sized male fish, and maybe those females are really hanging out on the outside waiting to come in. We haven't had a cold front yet. That's coming, and I think that first real cold front where we get those high winds, we get that crisp bluebird day, and that water temperature plummets 6 degrees or 7 degrees overnight. Although it's going to make it tough the day after and the day after following, but that's going to really start the whole cycle, I think. So really, shiner fishing included, it's been just catch one or two. You can completely abandon that area, or you can try to make it work. But for me, it's just been a couple of random bites per area is what I've been coming up with. And I've tried it all. I have been as far on the outside as you can get, fishing some offshore stuff, fishing in the rim canal, and I've been as skinny as I can float my boat. And I've got bit everywhere, just not consistently and not a lot of numbers. So the lake looks, listen, there's a lot of, it's not 2013, but we did get a lot of growth. There's a lot of different grasses coming. Yes, they are spraying still. I know a lot of us are trying to work on doing whatever we can with that. But for now, the shrimp grass is thick. There's a lot of eel grass. There is a little bit of hydrilla we've seen. There's a lot of emergent vegetation that's popped up that these fish are going to take to, and they are going to set up on. I think there are certain areas, I'm not going to say them right now, but there are areas in the lake that when these fish, this big wave of spawners does push into, you are going to see multiple 30-pound bags come out of each of these areas. I say each. There's which is really cool. One thing I will say that I predict happening is obviously it changes every 3 months, but there's typically 2 or 3 community holes of fish that are active on Okeechobee at a given time, depending on the time of year and what have you. And the big complaint was there's only 3 places to fish. There's only 3 places to fish. And I think areas to kind of go spend the day and fish, that may be true, but there are some stretches, we'll call them, of 150-yard stretches that are new, that have come back. from years past, and I think you're going to those will be a factor. There will be guys that run to these stretches, they catch 25, 28 pounds, and then go play in the community hole and hope to upgrade from there. And there's a lot of those certain areas. So I've been running around. I've been looking at a lot of the lake, and I like what I see. I just think we need a couple of cold fronts to really start pushing these fish and get the whole ball rolling that we get into winter. Our fish don't like change. I say it all the time, whether that means even in the colder months, the winter months, once those cold fronts start hitting every other week, every week, they kind of get accustomed to that, and you can kind of get dialed in and follow the fish in and out and do what you need to do. But right now, it's cooler in the mornings, but it's still in the high 80s. The water temp, I think today or yesterday when I was out there, was 73. So it is lower. I shouldn't say 73. It was 73 in one spot in the Rim Canal. I believe I saw it was like holding at 80 degrees in the lake. So we're kind of on that fringe, but it's going to be any day now. It wouldn't surprise me. Tomorrow is the Ghost and Goblins event out of Clewiston. My buddy Chris Sherling, who I'm actually going to be fishing the Lake and Trail Championship with next weekend, he's made the comment for years that the spawners, the first wave of spawners always comes in on Ghost and Goblins, and it's always one on spawners, so we'll see what happens. Maybe it might take 30 pounds to win that. I doubt it, but we'll see. I think we actually are getting a cold front this coming week, so that's going to change things. But as far as baits, you guys could probably tell I'm even spun out on this lake right now because I just rambled for 11 minutes. But what did we catch them on? Back at you, burner worm, the bigger one. There's been certain scenarios where they want the smaller one over the big one. But I'm a fan of that back at you color, that black and purple. I just like a dark color when I'm swimming a worm down here. Throwing it on the outside edge, throwing it way in the back. It's getting bit. There's a frog bite. A lot of people are catching their whatever fish they're going to catch on a popping frog. I've been throwing the black gambler popping frog. But bites are few and far between. So, that frog, you're not covering water very fast with that. It's throwing to targets, pop, let it sit, pop, let it sit kind of thing, that sort of cadence. And it can get frustrating because you're not getting a lot of bites. And again, it's not typical Okeechobee where you're settling down in areas. So a bait that you can cover a lot of water with, a swim jig, a spinner bait if you find the right water, a big easy, buzzing that around in the back. It really depends where you're fishing. If you're on the outside edge, flipping, throwing a swim jig in the grass, rattle trapping. If you're like me, you want to flip, you can do that. You could kind of get bit doing a little bit of everything, but you're not going to get a lot doing anything, it seems like. But so it's in that stingy mode right now. My wife makes a comment that every October I say I'm going to quit my job because I feel like if I could ever figure these fish out in October on this lake, I wouldn't say I'd be a rich man, but I'd be a much happier person because it's frustrating when you're not even getting bit with shiners. But the fish are healthy. The fish are here. It's just they're spread out, and they're in that transition period right now. So for the first time in my life, I'm almost begging for a cold front. And when these fish come, like I said, it's gonna be really good, I believe. So there are some big ones being caught. I think Big Fish and Cracker Boys was like almost 8. And what was I gonna say? The club tournament out of Clewiston, there was one on like a 7.5. I know of a 7-pounder caught a couple days ago. So there are big fish. There are some females, but I would think with this many males being caught, these many spawning areas and what have you, that you'd see, it might not be everybody, but you'd see some 25, 28-pound bags. So they could be right around the corner. It's Okeechobee. They can move in like that, just like they can leave like that. So it wouldn't surprise me if some of these people in the Ghost and Goblins event that maybe caught a couple of dinks today go back to an area and catch 26 pounds. So we'll see what happens there. But cold front's going to come and everything's going to change, I believe. But if you guys want to hopefully that helps you guys out. I know that was just a whole bunch of nothing, but hopefully it kind of gives you guys an idea of what I feel like is going on. If you guys want to book a trip for this winter, let me know. Get your dates in sooner than later, because I am starting to get people. They felt that little cool, brisk air all through the country, and people are starting to call. If you want to get your dates in for this spring, mid-March through mid-May, that is booking up pretty dang quick. That's just, this lake used to be a December through February lake, and although you can have some phenomenal fishing then, that March through May has been a blast throwing that frog and flipping that jig around. So got a lot of repeats that are booking then. So if you guys want to get a date booked, then let me know sooner than later. And I'm going to have some videos coming out to you guys here relatively soon, because like I said, I'm going to be practicing for this this classic event we got coming up, and I'm going to try and make a whole big video of that, and then obviously the event. So appreciate you guys watching. Again, I appreciate all the support, and I guess I will see you guys on the next one. Good luck out there, tight lines, and as always, be safe.